Dean, we live and work in a very trucking, logistics, distribution heavy area.
Yes.
We work for a distribution company, obviously.
Yes.
This whole
we literally live it.
This whole tri-state region, Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana, it's filled with disties like us.
Warehouses everywhere, trucks up and down 75. Yeah.
They have rapid access to a lot of the U.S. in just a day or two. That's why this area is really well known for that, by truck.
Fair.
And there's so many trucks that are on the road all the time.
Fair.
You can feel how you want to feel about those, but they are the people that are getting stuff to businesses, to consumers that rely on those trucks, timely deliveries to get all this stuff. As you're going to hear about in the pod, Dean's got a daughter that demands everything.
Where is it?
In a timely fashion. So you would think that this industry would be very tech forward.
Yes.
But that's not necessarily always the case, unfortunately.
Yeah, we found that.
Sometimes they're using very manual, outdated processes still. Yeah. And as we're going to learn from our guests, there's a lot of fragmentation happening out there. So that represents opportunity for you, the reseller community, to go out and sell some new technology.
We're going to wrangle some of this fragmentation. There you go.
And we're going to introduce you to a new partner. So today on the show, we have Tom Hurwitch and Gerry Corriveau from Baysys. They're going to explain the state of the trucking logistics industry. They're going to talk about where tech adoption stands, what's missing, what's lacking, where waste is costing these companies and the fleet owners. And then, of course, how Baysys can go help you win some business and prepare these enterprises for the future. So honk, honk.
Nice.
Move over. We're driving into the future. I'm John Martin.
And I'm Dean Riverman.
Yeah, that's right. We're going over and out. Welcome to BlueStar Nation. BlueStar Nation podcast is brought to you by Elo. Elo's iSeries 5 has arrived. It's actually been around for a while. I probably need to update some of this text here, but
it's still here.
It arrived. It's here. You should start buying it. Elo's sitting there going, just talk about it, dude. Shut up. Right. iSeries delivers the modularity that businesses need in a flexible, sleek, fixed tablet form factor, complete with 15-inch full HD touch display, a flexible Android 14 OS, a powerful Qualcomm 6490 processor, Wi-Fi 6E, optional PoE, 4-edge Connect ports. The iSeries 5 provides the versatility to fit almost any application.
Sounds like it.
Absolutely. I think people should challenge them and try to come up with
an application, right? Yeah.
Like, let's see if the iSeries 5 can do this. And then it does it, and they're like, oh, I was right. So any application like self-service kiosk, POS terminals, price checkers, KDS, industrial automation, you name it, again, there's going to be a place you can probably fit these devices and these screens. Available in 15, 10, 22-inch sizes. I don't know why I put those out of order. 10, 15, 22. I'm a little dyslexic today with the ad read here.
Nice.
The iSeries 5 easily configures to fit the needs of your business, from signage and point of sale to self-service, automation controls, and much more. Now, you can also get the thin and sleek slate and the durable steel models.
Nice.
Making iSeries 5 the ideal touch computer for industries like retail, hospitality, industrial, and healthcare. Again, lots of places these things can fit. To learn more, check out data sheets and select the best iSeries configuration for your next project. Check out the link in the show notes or contact the BlueStar Elo team. All right, our guests today. We have two fantastic guests.
We do.
To get into this topic of trucking, logistics, inefficiency, and waste. We'll start off with Tom.
Inefficiency and waste. Yes.
Something we know a lot about on this podcast. Right. First off, we have Tom Hurwitch. He's the founder and CEO of Baysys. Tom, welcome to the show. Tell us a little about yourself, your background, and since you are the founder there, how did Baysys come to be? Tell us what led you to put this company together.
Sure. Nice to meet you guys, first and foremost. It was kind of a long and windy road, but my background was in consulting for about 20 years. And I did all sorts of projects from oil and gas to, supply chain work. And a lot of what I did was apply things that I'd learned over the course of, my many years as a consultant to future clients. And when I found myself in industry, come 2021, I quickly picked up on all the inefficiencies that were part of the business that I was running, and that was the genesis of Baysys. It was to fix everything that I didn't, everything I couldn't fix, I suppose, with the technology that was available at the time.
That's
very nice.
That's the sign of a good entrepreneur. Someone says, I see things that are wrong. I need to fix them. I'm going to make a company and fix them.
We're going to do this. Yeah. That's right.
I don't have that gauge in me, unfortunately. I used to just complain about all the things that are wrong. So that's why we need people like Tom to go out there and do the work.
Yes.
Our other guest is Gerry Corriveau. He's the strategic business advisor for Baysys. Gerry, welcome to the show. Glad to have you on. Give us a little info about your background as well.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure working with you both as well. Thank you so much for your time. And so I have been I was at Zebra for about 16 years and really loved working with the customers. I was in development leadership, but we had to kind of any sort of escalations we had to work through. And I just really appreciated Zebra's perspective around ensuring customer success and ensuring that Zebra Solutions were always there to be part of that overall customer business and solution. So as I saw Baysys, right, one of the key verticals that Zebra is in is T&L, and I was able to leverage connections there to help us start to get into Baysys, having Baysys get in front of those folks. And I find it just really exciting because we're now able to take digital solutions and bring them into an analog context, right? Mm-hmm. So that you can get real-time insights, actionable insights, and all the things that we used to talk about at Zebra, we're now able to bring to Baysys and Baysys customers. And I'm excited about working with VARs to be able to get that out in front of their customers and help them optimize their T&L operations.
Nice. Yeah. Yet another Zebra folk. We love Zebra folk around here. Former Zebra folk. They understand the channel and the woes and
exactly,
and how to make business happen with resellers.
They tend to find their way into other projects that are, just bringing all the whole channel together into one nice little ecosystem.
That's right. Well played.
Yep. Well, let's get into this topic of what's happening in the trucking logistics industry, because this stuff isn't going away. It's been
not at all.
We all learned I know we're years out from COVID at this point, but we're still talking about the ramifications for everything that happened there. And obviously everything getting delivered faster, better, on time, just ramped up and accelerated to like the maximum level during that time. But let's talk about what's happened now and where we stand since then. What is the state of the trucking and logistics industry right now? Where have they fallen behind maybe some other industries when it comes to the tech adoption? Because again, like we know that there's a need for this stuff to happen faster and quicker than ever. We know there's a lot of technology happening, in the distribution space, in the warehouse, in the stores themselves, but that may not necessarily be trickling out to the people whose job it is to get the stuff from point A to point B.
In fact, it's not.
Well, yeah, exactly. What are they doing? It's still very outdated, inefficient. What's happening out there? Give us the playing field right now.
Yeah, I think that if you do a search, you'll obviously see that AI is everywhere, right? Including trucking, logistics. There's no shortage of solutions like ours that incorporate AI into the platform in different formats. I think the challenge in trucking and logistics in general is the industry is still very highly fragmented. It's always had that cloud over it, as if you will. And it really hasn't changed that much. And I think that's the big challenge for the industry is, how do we unite everybody in some fashion? Because especially, when it comes to the larger trucking companies, a lot of them have developed their own solutions. So if you're a large shipper, a large BCO, and you're doing business with multiple trucking companies, you're probably dealing with multiple integrations with, each of their TMS offerings, right? So, and then you have, the playing field gets more complex when you talk about things like electronic logging devices, ELDs, and whatnot. And there's so many players, there's so many kind of silos in the industry. It's hard to really, for the industry to really kind of come together. Everyone's really very tied to their solution.
Yeah, it does seem to be that way. I'm going to throw some statistics out here. The trucking industry is big. It's really big.
Yeah.
$533 billion, right? And it represents 80% of the freight that is moved around the U.S. trucking industry. Yeah. $8.4 million $8.4 million jobs. I wish 8.4 million jobs in the United States. But to the point here, 96 or what Tom was saying, 96% of fleets operate 10 or fewer trucks. It is highly, highly fragmented. I mean, what a rat's nest of no
doubt.
I'm sorry, maybe that's not the best analogy, but I mean, it's like there's so many players, to your point, Tom. It's like, and not only that, but apparently there are a lot of them are living in the past, right? There's a lot of stuff that goes on. You know, fleets are managed by phone calls and emails and paper forms and manual dispatching and driver logs. And oh my Lord, you know, it's like this is an industry that is ripe for a need, a transformational need into the digital world, right, Tom? Is that part of what you're seeing, right?
Absolutely. And that's really where the foundation of Baysys is, because that was what I was dealing with. You know, it was creating loads manually and making errors, you know, entering container numbers. It was, you know, phone calls, emails, and texts daily to customers, giving them updates on the load status, you know, and a lot of those, you know, it's, you know, I would describe it as kind of death by a thousand cuts. You know, there's so many little admin tasks that go along with operating a trucking company every day. And you really very quickly lose sight of the fact that you're not focused on the valuable activities. If you're doing all of these things, you know, you're missing out on finding new loads. You're missing out on managing your regulatory paperwork, or, you know, hiring drivers, or whatever the case might be. But, you know, the more important stuff really at the end of the day, you know, and it's painful, especially for those small trucking companies, because they don't have the resources. You know, they don't have an HR manager. They don't have, you know, an accountant or whatnot. You know, they are wearing many hats. So they need platforms that can do a lot of that work for them.
Yeah. And Tom, this is something that we've talked about, right? When I was in software leadership at Zebra, one of the things was to invest in tools that would help the effectiveness of my team get higher, right? So that machines could do what they did well, right? The computing power and the software on those, and then have people take it to another level on what they could do well, right? The strategy, the architecture, the designs, and so on. And that's what we're looking at here, is looking to have the trucking companies and BCOs and so on be able to get rid of some of those mundane tasks that Baysys can resolve to help them be more efficient and effective, while they can focus on more strategic actions.
And it seems like even more, just to kind of pile on here, that the industry is ripe for this. And thank you so much for bringing up AI, because we are contractually obligated to talk about AI in at least every podcast.
It's nice when someone else does it for us.
That's right. We got to talk about it. But the industry is ripe for this, right? I mean, it seems like, you know, not a lot of people are going into the trucking industry. It doesn't seem like one of those industries where, unfortunately, a lot of people are. So we have to have those that are, the 8.4 million jobs that are already out there. How do we get more efficient in order to do the gains of the economy growing and stuff like that? It seems like a very good time for Baysys to be developing these types of tool sets.
Yeah, because our demands to like have all that stuff show up at our door faster.
That's not going anywhere.
Right. Demands of the retailers and whatnot.
Oh my Lord.
That's not slowing down. No one's going to suddenly sit up and go, you know what, we're going to ease off a little bit, let you guys catch up.
Well, you tell my 14-year-old daughter that she can't track, you know, whatever she just bought wherever, you know, it's like, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it?
Exactly.
Yeah, no doubt.
We're an on-demand world now.
We are.
So then, in my mind, then that fragmentation and that need and that desire to get stuff done faster, and to your point of like every company trying to figure out what to do, maybe they're building their own thing internally, maybe they're just not doing anything at all, they're just trying to do things old school. Yeah, that's got to lead to a lot of waste. And waste is the enemy of any good company, and any company being efficient and making a profit, and especially again as demand keeps rising. So what is all of this costing logistics operations and fleet owners every day? Like what is leading to, what is contributing to the waste for them, that maybe is where, you know, where there's opportunity that exists that we'll get to obviously in working with you to help them go out there and be more efficient and deliver and get rid of some of that waste off of their bottom line.
Yeah, I mean, there's you know, we bucket the waste, like you guys said, into sort of two categories. One is the office waste, the sort of admin waste that we've largely addressed, and we continue to address every day with the development of our TMS offering. You know, and that allows the trucking companies, especially the smaller ones that we've really focused on, to you know, focus again on the value added activities. But the other component to it is the over the road waste, right?
Mm-hmm.
As you guys look to, and that's a big one, right? So we recently came out with our second product of the 6 that we plan to come out with for intermodal logistics. And this one is really geared for the BCOs, the shippers. We call it Bullseye. And you'll see the bull name kind of, throughout all of our offerings. But Bullseye is, it fills a very specific, a very small niche, but it's a very powerful tool. In that what it does is it connects trucking companies with the empty containers that have to get back to the port. And it's a forgotten part of the supply chain. And what it leads to on the shipper side is about a $400 million a year opportunity to eliminate detention or late fees, getting containers back before their last free day, before they start incurring the late fees from the steamship line. But there's more waste there, you think about the trucking companies. There's 15 million containers, give or take, imported into the U.S. every year. So, if you were able to take 5 minutes off the time it takes to find those empty containers for, let's say, 10 million of the 15 million, you're talking about a savings of somewhere around 15 million pounds of CO2, about 670,000 gallons of diesel wasted, and the equivalent of 95 years of wait time. So,
wow.
Yes. I mean, imagine a truck idling for 95 straight years for an entire century, more or less, right?
Wow.
I mean, that's really what Bullseye is designed to do, and that's a very powerful kind of picture, right? I mean, and it adds up. Every trucking company has to deal with, their truck drivers trying to hunt and peck for containers every single day, maybe sometimes multiple times per day. And Bullseye makes that a thing of the past.
That's brilliant, right? Yeah. I'm sorry, Gerry, do you have something to add there?
Well, I was just going to add to that too, Tom, right? There's that whole notion of around port cities that in and out, especially on intermodal terminals, right? They all have that congestion point. And any efficiency you can get there results in better traffic flow. And wouldn't we all like better traffic flow in our port cities?
Yeah, 50% of the trucks you see on the road carrying containers have empty containers behind them. So, one of our goals with Baysys is to reduce that by upwards of 25%.
Yeah.
And we have products designed to do just that.
Is that a part of route planning as well? Does that come into play here or not so much? You're just saying we need to locate the empty containers. Yeah. Let's just start there, kind of a thing.
It's not so much route planning as it is, trucks have to go, they have to go into the port to get an empty for an export load. They have to go into the port to get a loaded container, to deliver to a customer. Really what we want to do is connect the two. It's called a street turn or a matchback in sort of trucking parlance, but it's a very difficult thing to do. But we've got a tool that we're building it as we speak that we feel can do it better than anything else out there. And that's going to be very powerful for not just the trucking industry, but also for your BCOs and shippers as well, because that's money saved potentially not having to send a truck into the port to fetch an empty.
So I hear you on that side, but let's go back over to the admin side. You're saying the TMS part of the product as well. I mean, there's a lot of administrative, it seems like, waste that is happening as anytime you get into a manual process, right? That's just going to have its waste around there. So
walking around hunting for someone to sign off on a form or something. Yeah. Kind of stuff.
Yep. So you're trying to tackle that end too, as well, correct?
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah. I think, and you mentioned earlier about, all of the small trucking companies in trucking itself. Yeah. A lot of them don't have software because there's very few software tools that are really scaled down to fit them. And that's really what we tried to do with our TMS was build something that was kind of purpose built for this, that could scale with small trucking companies all the way up to large trucking companies, and what it allows them to do. And one of our customers is the perfect example. He drives the truck and he runs the company. And he said, it's the first solution he's seen where he can actually do both from the cab of the truck, because it's, we use we use LLM, use AI, to read documents. So, he'll get a delivery order from a customer. He just drags and drops it into Baysys. Yeah. It reads it, creates a load instantly. And then he just assigns it with drag and drop to either himself or to one of the other trucks in his business. Yeah, so what used to take him upwards of 30 minutes on the side of the road now takes him about 2.
Wow.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
So then let's talk about the automation piece. Let's talk about the digitization piece and getting, especially on that, on that office side of things, and getting the stuff out of the manual processes and the physical paper and pen or whatever, that kind of stuff going on. And that 30 minutes of wasted time just getting a load put together. How is that going to help, when someone's working with you and they're trying out some of these processes and using some of your applications, how's it going to help these wasteful processes get pushed aside and really prepare these organizations for the future of where TNL is headed? We've talked about AI a little bit here.
Right.
We know AI is coming. There are clear, obvious examples of how it can be used. What are you seeing as the future of the industry that we need to prepare these organizations for, especially the ones that hope to continue to grow and be part of that future? How are we going to help them get there? And I'll also even throw in on the table, if this even matters at all, are we anywhere close to the whole autonomous fleet thing? Does that actually start fitting into this conversation? Because I know that's been the
bold claim.
We're not going to talk about that one company. What was it, Nikola or something or whatever? The one who had the false, truck that didn't actually drive itself. I know we're probably further off from that one than we like to think, but I know some people are still trying to look at the future and figure out where we're going. So help us figure that out. Where's the future, and how are we going to get there with the products like yours?
I'll try to tackle this one piece at a time, and at the same time not give away too much of what we're working on. But
fair enough. Yes, right.
But to be honest, I think it's ultimately will be in full automation from that administrative piece, right? Mm-hmm. So and that's the stated goal of Baysys. It's we want to make it as easy as possible for trucking companies to operate without having to do a lot of manual data entry or even the drag and drop stuff. So we're working towards a world where loads are essentially delivered automatically. They push through the system, which they do now with Baysys. When you open the load as a truck driver, it puts in active status. When you deliver it, it puts in delivered status. When you return the container to the port, it puts in completed status, and then it bills it. So, a lot of that stuff already exists, but we want to make it completely touch free. And that way you're really just handling the really important stuff, which is hands on the steering wheel, as it were. Yeah. As far as the autonomous trucks are concerned, I think we're an extremely long way away from that. Mm-hmm. I could see trucks running I-90, I-80 across the country from two depots essentially in competition with rail. But I think it's a tall order to say that trucks could be, operating in and around the ports, or the cities for that matter, autonomously, given the size and weight of trucks as they are.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, and Tom, one of the things you did mention, where the load is picked up and where it's dropped off, but there's all that time in the middle as well, and having real time insight as to where that is, right? So you can end up knowing where your stuff is at any given point in time, is really important. And that's something certainly no paper system is going to help you, right? That's, it's basically all batch processed and such. And now you have that real-time visibility, so you can actually make business decisions based on where things are, or even changes in those decisions, if something is that really needs to be rerouted or such. You're
exactly right. And that's part of what we do with Baysys is we give the freight forwarders, the brokers, and even the shippers access to the platform as well. So they don't have to make those phone calls or send texts or emails or whatnot asking for load status. Mm-hmm. They can go in and they get a view that's tailored for them, right? So they can see all the loads that they've sent to all the different trucking companies, but they've all been categorized by just, it's just their loads, right? So that way they can click on a load. They can see what its status is. If there's a connection to a logging device, they can see where the truck is on the road. Mm-hmm. And so it gives them that access. It frees up the trucking company to be able to focus again on the things that matter the most. Because they, in this day and age, they shouldn't have to field phone calls and texts and emails constantly asking for load status. Let the customer do that. We have the technology for it. and we're going to give it to them.
Yeah, I can tell you as practitioners in the T&L world, right? Being a distributor, we we have a little bit about that, but it is aggravating to call, and get load status and stuff like that. It is endless, right? And I can't even imagine being a freight broker and just the endless phone calls that those folks get, and a really, really tough job. But I mean, to your point, when you think about the wastefulness and where the industry is going, not only is it, I guess the need to thwart the wastefulness, but there's just, as we mentioned, there's the pressure of what the market is putting on T&L in order to have better visibility, better route optimization, right? I mean, these are things that are like, how are we going to know what we experience on the consumer side is just as relevant on the commercial side as well. I mean, people want to know where their shipments are and stuff like that. And your systems are going to start enabling that, right? So not only tapped into that, but now as you are tapping into, there's predictive analytics that can go into this and some automation that goes into that. And it sounds like that's where you guys are going as well, but that's a collaboration between multiple parties as well.
You're exactly right. And that's really the next step for Baysys is we call it smart bullpen. But we are currently working on that, and that's, that is the real-time automation. It's the intelligence and the predictive analytics that allow trucking companies to reassign loads as necessary, using real-time data, right? Because, one of the things that, you're kind of, I don't want to say victim of, but, subject to, I suppose, is, the data you get is really from your truckers themselves. They have to call and say they're running late or so on and so forth. If you could have the data from them without them having to make a phone call, is even better, right? So, we're building a system that will actually dispatch and redispatch your loads constantly, looking at all sorts of data points. In fact, we've got 14 data points that it looks at on a constant basis at the moment. And that's, and especially for the large trucking companies that are running at pretty high capacity with a lot of trucks, it's a game changer, right? Because they don't have excess capacity to a large degree, and they need to make sure that they can deliver effectively on time. They have the assets, they don't have the time, and Smart Bullpen can help them.
Let me ask you, does this also kind of help out with the whole driver safety issue as well? Because I know it's obviously a huge problem in the trucking industry of drivers that are just doing more than they should be, that are, running later hours than they should be, driving tired, getting 5-hour energy to keep themselves alert and try to stay on the road. And we know that one accident can cause massive ripple effect problems that, again, creates not only huge liabilities, but also then nobody gets their stuff when they're supposed to get it, or maybe entire loads get lost entirely there. So is this kind of like automation and waste management and taking care of these processes, is that also going to maybe help out with a lot of that as well?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think, there's a couple of ways to look at that. That our partnership with Zebra, I think, is part of that. We want to put all of this stuff on one piece of hardware on a tablet that's on the dashboard, so that the driver is not having to pick up their phone and look at anything. They've got their GPS software, they've got their ELD, they've got their dispatch tool, their Baysys TMS, hopefully, all in one spot, right? So their attention can be focused on the road, and that system, everything talking to every other piece of software, all of that can happen, in one place, right? Not on multiple devices throughout the cab. And the other part is, it takes away some of that pressure, right? So if Baysys is doing all of the dispatching and they're not thinking ahead to the next load and having to worry about that so much, then it takes away some of that pressure from them trying to make up time, right? Or whatnot, and get to the port on time for the next load, or so on and so forth. They know it's outside their control. The system is going to redispatch them as necessary, put them on the next load available. It allows them to focus on the work that they currently are focused on, or should be focused on. Right?
Yeah,
there you go.
Right.
Yeah, and there's also the authentication piece, right? Is that by using the camera, you can actually use facial recognition to log in, so that authenticates the driver along with that particular truck or cab, and we're working on integrations with sensor companies, so that as that chain of custody, you can also watch some of the aspects that you care about, like perhaps temperature on a load, from start to finish, and be able to show the profile. to ensure that diligence was done to keep things where they needed to be temperature-wise.
Yeah, which is a huge thing, right? I mean, we're aware of like the FSMA rules and stuff like that. I mean, traceability relative to food and other items, healthcare and all that kind of good stuff. Again, that just speaks to the market pressures being put on T&L to track.
Yeah.
I mean, got to know where this stuff's at,
this whole
right?
cyclospore outbreak thing that everyone's been talking about.
Oh, my goodness,
it's all part of the supply chain, being able to figure out what's where and where it's gone. And
where did it come from? That's
keeping people safe and healthy there.
Yep.
So, all right, well, you guys have done a pretty good job already of laying out what Baysys is doing and what you're bringing to the table. But let's dig a little further to that. How are you helping VARs go out here and do more with their customers? And let's tap in also into your experiences. Tom, you mentioned at the top of the show, what you learned in your time in these businesses and, and what you understand about what's happening out there and how that's informed what you're doing at Baysys. And Gerry, your experience over at Zebra as well. So let's talk about, what you're bringing to the table, where your solutions sit right now and how you can go out and help VARs, deliver to their trucking logistics fleet operations customers.
Yeah, so where we're looking to go with VARs is, number one, they should know that they're on a Baysys is on a current platform, right? So it's not something that's 10 years old and has a lot of software craft in it. It's using key elements. You've got AI, you've got modern software platform and integration. And so that's important, because as you start to look at how do we integrate other capabilities into it, like we're talking about sensors, perhaps ELDs and so on, so that we can have a better awareness, right? Contextual or situational awareness of that truck and what it looks like and how it's moving down the road and so on. That's all really important because it's very flexible. So the other piece is that we're a SaaS solution. So the VARs can capitalize on the fact that this is going to be a recurring revenue, but also for their customers, it's not a huge expense. It's an OpEx, right? And so they're not needing to come up with, a year, 2 year, 3 years worth of payment up front, because we know that that's a particular sensitivity to trucking companies, right? So, and it also provides a window into, again, these loads as they are moving from start to finish. And we're really looking at trying to give better informatics around those loads. Yeah. So, Tom, I don't know if you have anything to add to that. Well, actually, one last thing is very important. I know we mentioned Zebra a little bit in the context of this call, but we just established a partnership. We're an ISV partner with Zebra in their Partner Connect program, and we're really looking to leverage that and sitting on the Zebra platform as well, like a TC product or ET product that we can look to use the capability. Zebra has put so much into those products that we can leverage as part of this solution.
Very nice.
And I think the only thing I would add is that we have 6 products in the intermodal logistics space that we have planned, 2 of which are currently available. And each one builds on the last, or I should say, on all of the previous tools. So if you're out there, pitching something, on behalf of Baysys, just know that there's more coming. That you have other ways to provide value to your customers. So Bullseye brings something to the table for BCOs and for trucking companies, but then Smart Bullpen brings something else, and then we have other tools, the Bull Market and Matador, and then more beyond that. Each one does something else. So it's kind of the gift that keeps on giving, I suppose, right? Everyone, if I can say so. There's great ways, for the VARs to obviously, open a door with their customers, selling out these initial SaaS products, but then there's more coming, and each one is going to help their customers even more.
And with that modern platform and its extensibility, we're also looking for feedback from the VAR community on what can best help them serve their customers.
Yeah, I mean, we preach about how resellers should be in tune with their customers. There are opportunities beyond the core of what they're doing from time to time. And so any of the resellers, that Zebra partners or otherwise that are working back a house, we have a ton of them that are helping with the efficiencies of warehousing and manufacturing and all kinds of industries. But what a great opportunity now to have a further conversation that expands into the T&L part of that business, because it requires ruggedized equipment, as they mentioned, the ET, the tablet that's going to be in the cab or whatnot. It gets them into the connectivity discussion, which we've been preaching for a long time. When you get into sensors and stuff like that, there's more doors that can be open, and the more that you offer these business outcomes that can enable your customers, you being the reseller's customer, the better you are. And adding something like Baysys to your overall basket of opportunities, nothing but a win, if you ask me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everything you said just kept screaming to me: recurring revenue opportunities.
Yep. Who doesn't like that?
And more importantly, ongoing opportunities, which I think most resellers will find themselves sometimes in a place where they're like, all right, I sold these guys a ton of tablets, rugged mobile computers,
a
printers.
WMS.
I gave them all this stuff. Now I got to sit around and wait until there's a new generation that comes out, and
we call that refresh.
Yeah, and try to refresh them again. To me, this gives them an opportunity to go back on a maybe a little bit more regular basis. Like, hey, it's not time to update your tablets yet. However, that Baysys product that I sold you or that we talked about before, well, guess what? They got a new application. They got a new tool. Let's talk about that. Let's see how that could actually help out your business. If nothing else, they should be working with you and tapping in with you right now, just with the idea of, hey, let's stay in touch and make sure that when these new products are becoming available, that we know about them and can go out and talk to our customers about them and try to take them a little bit further than where they are. If nothing else, also, I think to me this makes a great progressive steps with some of these folks too, because we know especially in the T&L supply chain space, moving forward or adopting technology can be a slow crawl. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that shutting down an operation in order to upgrade and a whole bunch of new technology is painful. Kind of something they either can't do or is very difficult to do. So maybe something like this that can help them with some of those baby steps. And
Absolutely.
Say, let's start small. Let's fix this one problem that we know exists in your business. And then next year we're going to come back and fix this next problem.
And it's something that needs to be fixed. The industry is moving in this direction. It has to move in this direction.
Absolutely.
The consumers won't allow it not to happen in this or any other factor that we talked about. My 14-year-old needs to know. So that alone is going to put enough pressure to make this happen. You might as well have that conversation with your customer and get somebody like a Baysys in your ecosystem. Yeah, for sure.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I agree.
And I want to specifically mention also, it's been a pleasure working with BlueStar as well, because you all get T&L. We can hear that on this call, right? And it's great to have a partner that is understanding of just the ecosystem out there, what some of the challenges are, and be able to talk, just in very solid terms about how we can all work together to help T&L.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, in a moment, Tom and Gerry are going to talk a little bit more about how they, can work with you, what kind of VARs they're looking to work with, and what a partnership with them looks like as well. And maybe how you can make sure that you're the right kind of partner to work with them as well. Before we do that, a quick note of what's happening around BlueStar Nation.
Yes, sir.
There's this thing called VARTech coming up. Have you ever heard about it?
Yeah, it's a little show we put on every year.
Just a little thing we do from time to time. Right. Yeah.
1,500 of our best friends, kind of thing.
VARTech 2026 in New England is right around the corner. In fact, as you hear this podcast, it's probably about almost exactly a month away that we'll be kicking that off.
Yeah.
You can be part of that event, whether you are even attending or not. So for VARs that are planning to go, first of all, now is the time to make sure that you are registered, that you're booking your flights.
That's right.
You're getting everything in order, thinking about who you want to meet and who you want to see at the show. If you check out things right now, you can see some of our sponsors that are going to be there. Most importantly, the big thing you can do right now, download the BlueStar events.
Nice, yes.
Which is something you should have, whether you're going to the show or not. It's a great way to keep up with some of the things that we've got going on in the channel and 100%. Keep up with some of our events. The app is going to be the guide for all things VARTech, though. It's where you can find the agenda. You can get info on the education sessions. Contact info.
Who was that presenter that I just saw? Wait a minute. How do I? Right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
you can even network with other attendees there. So you meet someone cool, and maybe you didn't get a chance to exchange business cards. You can get in the app and send a message to them there. Turn on some notifications in there as well, so you're alerted about real-time events and important info that's happening at the show. Now, if you're not going to VARTech, well, we still are going to have you covered if you're following us us on LinkedIn or on our YouTube page. You'll see posts from the show. We'll do fun social content. We always do that when we're on site. And eventually, we also do a lot of recording of the stuff that's happening there. You'll see some videos on our YouTube page of key presentations, insights from our partners, featured speakers, lots of good stuff. Now, you also might get a little bit of FOMO if you're not attending, but either way, we're going to make sure that even the folks that can't be there are not going to miss out on some of the good stuff.
That's right. There's just too much good stuff that happens there. We got to pass it along.
Exactly. Yeah. Download the BlueStar Events app on the Apple or Google app stores, and we hope to see you at VARTech 2026. Spoiler alert, Baysys is going to be there with us too. We'll talk more about that a little bit in a moment too. Hey, while you're taking that time to download that app and follow us on all the places, make sure you also are, as always, hit the like button for this episode. Subscribe to the show, whether it's here on YouTube or your podcast platform of choice. Do both.
Yeah. And drop a comment.
Yeah, drop us a comment. Leave us a rating and review. Tell us what you want to hear about on the show. If you like topics like we heard about today, but you think we need to go a little bit further, talk about another aspect of the logistics industry maybe we didn't get into, let us know, and we will either bring these folks back on or find a guest that can speak to those topics as well. But we need to hear from you. As always, you can find us on the BlueStar LinkedIn page, or you can email us directly, nation@bluestarinc.com. All right, let's wrap things up here. We'll start with a little VAR value, and kind of make this conversation a little more succinct. Again, if someone's listening, they should have a pretty good idea about Baysys, what you do, what you stand for, how you can help them go out and win business. But let's tie that up in a nice bow to make sure they understand. So why should VARs be working with you? And more importantly, what are you going to be looking for in partners? How are you going to help them go out, sell more hardware, grow their T&L business? What does it look like to work with Baysys?
Yeah. So first, we're an Android first SaaS solution, right? So that's key because a lot of those rugged handhelds are Android based, right? So we wanted to make sure that there was a strong commitment to those type of products. The other is that we are really customer centric. So we will look to listen to the VARs and ensure that we are developing solutions that meet their customer needs, right, and help them win business. We're also looking to tie in with BCOs. So the VARs that are working with BCOs, we do have a strong story with that. And then again, the extensible platform and integrations that we're looking to do will help them to have that state-of-the-art platform.
Yeah, I would just add to that. Obviously, I mentioned we've got 6 products, in the mix for intermodal logistics. We have other products in the pipeline. In particular, one that uses machine learning, and it's really focused on the large trucking companies, so companies with 1,000 trucks or more. And it solves some pretty interesting and challenging problems. There's not a single one of those companies with 1,000 trucks that doesn't have the problem that we're working on solving. So, I bring that up because I think, we're always looking to make the experience better for Baysys customers, whether that's a small trucking company or a BCO. Our sort of ethos is, we want everyone to be better from being part of the Baysys ecosystem. So, whether you have an idea of, something that can improve one of our products, or, a different type of customer segment that we haven't really hit on, or, anything that you think can bring more value to your customers, we're all ears for that. We want the rising tide to lift all boats, as it were. So, we work with our customers now to make sure that we update the product as for their needs, and we'll do the same for any customers that the VARs bring to us.
Yeah, and as most companies get started, they're going direct, but our clear mission is to go through the channel in order to just meet the needs in a much broader terms, right? We're not looking to be that channel at all.
So a
saying
good
all
partner,
the right things.
There you go. A good partner is looking to grow their business, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's some folks out there, and what I like about this is that there are other complementary technologies that they're already probably built into. Mobility, of course, being one of them. Barcode scanning, of course. But as we talked about, the connectivity, RFID, those types of things, AI and analytics. Now you're offering this type of solution. It's a win-win.
Yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate also that you're willing to say, hey, we are willing to grow and change and
absolutely feedback
and give us feedback. Tell us what you need, and we'll grow and change and redirect our product or come up with new ideas if we need to. There's something to be said for a partner that is not just telling you like, here's what we got, this is all you get, deal with it. And someone is saying like, hey, we want you to work with us just as well as we want to work with you.
Yeah.
Let's figure out how we can do everything together and develop solutions that actually are compatible with one another.
That's awesome. Yep.
Well, and again, as I mentioned, if you are going to be at VARTech, Baysys will be there. They will have a booth on the exhibit hall floor where they're even going to get some time at our Tech Connect Live.
That's right.
A little bit of time to come out and talk about themselves and pitch their solutions. So if you're going to be there, meet them there, learn more about them. And of course, I'll drop some links in the show notes, but visit baysys.io to learn a bit more. That's baysys.io to learn more. And Tom and Gerry both said that I can put their contact info in the notes too. So
there you go.
If you want to reach out to them directly, I'm going to give you that access. You don't
straight
get that
to the
very
source.
often.
Straight to the source. That's it.
So go check those notes out and reach out to them, and hopefully you can find some great ways to grow your business together.
Nice.
All right, we're going to wrap up as always with what's on our radar.
Yes.
It's the fun part of the show. We get to talk about anything in the world of tech, innovation, science, news, business, entertainment, whatever we feel like.
There you go.
I'll let you guys kick it off here. Gerry, why don't you get us started here? What's on your radar right now?
Yeah, so just loving AI, and it's not obligatory. It's actually, I have a lot of fun. It's really hard to not think of it as a person, but it just helps in so many ways, and we see that with Baysys right now. I remember using OCR tools, and it's like, hey, what's the best OCR tool? And now it's like it's AI. It's just I scrape some stuff from the screen, I'll put it in, turn it into text, and it helps me get my job done. And we've incorporated similar things, in Baysys that you can pull all these manual things on. That's like at a base level, but it's so exciting to look at where it can all go as you start to get to big data, right? And you start to have more of that information from the edge go into the back end, and you can now operate on that and have smarter operations.
Now, Gerry, have you named your AI? Are you on that basis with it just yet? Or do you want to disclose
that? Now I'm just using Claude has got to be my favorite right now.
Okay.
Fair.
ChatGPT's okay, but I'm finding Claude's getting the job done more.
Nice.
There you go.
And he's spending all your tokens, Tom.
I hope that expense report comes through.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
we're paying both Anthropic and OpenAI. So
that's right.
Yeah, there you go.
Everybody is.
Yeah. Exactly. All right, Tom, what's on your radar right now?
Yeah, it's a shade of what Gerry was talking about. I think I've always been a data guy as long as I can remember. And that was the things that I really enjoyed doing as a consultant, were looking at the data to see what I could unearth, right, for to help my clients. And I think that's part of what I'm really excited about is kind of what's next. And that speaks to both our products. There's the one that I didn't mention as part of the 6 is something we call Arena, which is that machine learning tool that can provide operational insights and whatnot. And tell a trucker to park the truck for a little bit, and take a break because the port is backed up or something like that. So things like that. It's kind of like the last 1.5%, maybe, or 2% of operational efficiency that we can bring to the table that really squeezes out those last few dollars, and really helps trucking companies, be as efficient as possible. And maybe it's not 1.5%, maybe it's 10%, who knows? But
there you go.
Right. But and then how do we leverage that in other places? And that was the stuff that we're working on outside of intermodal logistics, I think, speaks to that. It's there's so much to be learned from all the data that we don't see every day. What types of things can we improve in our lives just by leveraging that data in new ways?
Nice.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right, I know I already went, but I got to say that having that situational awareness is really another big thing, right? Like just
sure.
instrumenting up, I just, and Tom hears me talk about this all the time. It's like understanding what's going on in the cab, what the chassis is, and trying to look at getting to predictive operations, right? Like, hey, should those tires be?
That's right. Maintenance. We need to get there. Yep.
Right. It's like, get all these things. We all know that when you're doing business, you really want to be in the plan stage, not in the firefighting stage. Right.
That's right. Yes.
So,
much better. Yes.
They can get you in front of the operation and say like, hey, this has got to go down for now. Have Billy or Mary use this other set of products, right? Cab and chassis and all this stuff, so that you can actually have a very ordered and structured model. And another piece that I've talked to Tom about is if we can get enough efficiencies through using the Baysys products, right? Then could even some of these port operations or other yards actually have a smaller footprint because you're not having to have so much space for the waste, right?
The answer's got to be yes there, right? Yeah. For sure.
Well, and we all know the real estate is just really expensive, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
And just, less you can use, or maybe you can move more of it into refrigerated operations, or just it gives you flexibility is the idea.
Yeah. See, there's a lot of cool stuff happening in our world.
Absolutely.
I'm telling you.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah. And I'll also just say, I very much appreciate that Baysys is leading into the whole like bull and bullfighting theme.
No, I know.
As a marketing guy, I love a good theme, and every time you keep mentioning a product, I was like, oh, I see how that ties in. Like, I love that.
Are we doing a running of the bulls in Pamplona at some point in time?
That feels like the natural. You should have like branded bulls or something. Yeah, there you go.
Well played. Very nice.
Oh man,
very nice. Tom, just forget the running of the bulls. I'd just like to have a Lamborghini for the day or something.
There you go.
Fair enough.
Yeah, there we go.
We'll see if we can work that out.
Running you a different kind of bull there.
No doubt. All
right, Dean, what's on your radar?
All right, I came across a headline, but let me ask you a question here first. When was the last time you sat on the ground? What do you got, John?
Do you mean like literal ground, or
Tom,
even just like
Gerry,
on the floor?
On the floor.
I've got small kids.
Like on the floor.
I was going to say, like I do it.
Oh, so you're on the floor.
I'm on the floor all the time.
Yeah, I do it somewhat. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, the headline was maybe you should sit on the ground 30 minutes a day. So
30 minutes.
Well, the numbers are grim, right?
Getting up is the hard part.
Well, as we get a little older, that's right. 80% of American jobs are now classified as sedentary, right?
Yes,
we know about this, right? But that said, all setting isn't equal. Slumping on the couch or hunching over a screen isn't quite the same. Blah blah blah. So there's a new book out, Built to Move, by mobility gurus. There's a title that I want to be a mobility guru. Juliet Starrett and Kelly Starrett, they are extolling their virtues of sitting on the floor for at least 30 minutes, cumulative minutes. It doesn't have to be in one sitting, right? You can just sit on the ground there. And it has all kinds of benefits, right? It's depending on how you sit, you're helping your back, you're stretching tissues, you're stretching your hamstrings and your calves and blah, 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 and all these kinds of good things. So that might be beneficial. Like if you're having lower back pain, they're saying that, maybe you should sit on the ground for 30 minutes because actually they say fidgeting is good. I find that when I'm on the ground, it's usually like the family's playing a game or something like that, and we're all huddled around. And it's good to fidget because that engages more of your core and your muscles and stuff like that. I thought, well, that's pretty brilliant. So now I got to work 30 minutes a day into my schedule. So John, if I see you in the office sitting on the ground,
now you know why.
You're okay. You're going to get a pass from me.
Sweet.
There you go.
Are we going to start at home too? Yeah, why not?
Yeah. So Gerry, wait a minute. Who has the kids that you're on the floor? Is it okay? So Tom does. Gerry, are you going to get sitting on the floor now more?
Grandkids. I got 3, 4, and 5.
There it is. Yeah. So we're getting our quota in, I guess, right?
There you go. I like it.
Fair enough.
Now, it's funny. I was just reading an article about like that 30 minutes of like maybe spending some time getting up and walking up and down hallways or running up and down some steps in your house a couple times.
Yep, for sure.
Which seems a little more active than sitting on the floor. But to your point, anything that gets you off of that chair.
Yes, right.
Off of that hunched over kind of position or whatever is typically.
So go ahead and sit on the floor and you won't look like an idiot.
Basically just get out of the damn chair and do something else.
Exactly right.
For, at least a little chunk of time time. I think if it's like 5 minutes every hour,
Yes,
you're usually
there it is.
in a good
There it
place.
is. So what's on your radar there? Yeah, my man.
All right. Well, I need to talk about the scandal that is rocking the
my.
Japanese business world.
Whoa. This is not on my radar. Go ahead.
Shorts.
Shorts? What do you mean shorts?
Are apparently a huge problem.
You mean wearing shorts?
Yes. So let's talk about
digital shorts that are.
If you know anything about Japanese culture, they tend to be, this is no pun intended, even though it will very clearly sound like a pun at some point here, a little buttoned up.
Yes.
They are a culture that is known for being, very, astute and, keeping things together.
Yes. Clean, well dressed,
yes,
all that.
exactly.
Yes.
Well, in the business world, because like everywhere else on the planet, it's getting hotter all the time.
Fair enough.
There's been a noted, increase in temperatures and problems with people having heat stroke and environmental factors.
Yeah, okay.
So the country as a whole has had to make some pivots. Now, this started apparently back in 2005 when there were some suggestions that men could start wearing polos to work or people could start wearing short sleeves to work.
Wow. And this was a revolutionary idea back then?
So 2005, wearing short sleeves to work suddenly became revolutionary. So much so that the prime minister even was seen wearing short sleeve and not a suit and tie all the time.
I had no idea.
In order to, and they called it cool biz is how they referred to it.
Cool biz.
This was a movement to try to help people like loosen up a little bit and wear some lighter clothes in order to not be quite as hot. Well, now we're going to the next level. And the mayor of Tokyo has recently, and some of the governors recently launched super cool biz, which is a way to kind of move this a little bit further. And where it's leading is or rather for Tokyo in particular, Tokyo Cool Biz, which is basically suggesting, hey, men at work now can wear shorts. So they're recommending that men can not only wear polos and short sleeve shirts to work, but can also wear shorts to work.
I'll be darned.
Now, here's where the scandal comes in.
Okay, yes. Where is the scandal?
Because the women of Japan are not too happy about this. One, because they don't get the same consideration. The expectation is still if any part of their legs is showing, they should be wearing tights or pantyhose.
Oh, I did not know this. Okay.
There's still
so we got some equity issues. Yes, got it.
So they're not getting the same consideration.
All right.
And there's also what some Japanese women are describing online as sunahara, which means leg hair harassment.
Oh, you had to go there, didn't you?
Essentially,
you had to go there.
There is some discomfort by being forced to see their colleagues' leg hair in the office. So much so that some of the men, in an effort to not
we're not.
Their coworkers are going and getting laser hair removal treatment on the parts of their legs that might be showing, so they can still wear their shorts. I say everybody just be comfortable and do what you got to do. But it has become apparently quite a social and business scandal in the land of the rising sun. So.
Well, at BlueStar we are keeping the rule no shorts at work. So maybe for these reasons,
we're allowed to wear jeans. So we can still be a little more casual. But I mean, I'm going to be honest. I don't know that I would want to work.
Gerry, are we wearing shorts in the office?
I was going to say, Baysys is a super cool biz operation.
There you go.
Well, there you go. Super cool. You guys are ahead of the trend. Nice, as usual. Software companies are always ahead of the trend. That's for sure. That's good stuff. All
right, so that is what's on our radar. Obviously, if you're heading to Japan anytime soon to do some business,
wear some shorts.
Either get waxed or go get the laser hair removal. Tom Hurwitch, Gerry, Corriveau, thank you so much for joining us
guys.
again. Check out Baysys, Baysys.io, and meet these folks at VARTech if we're going to be there. And hey, learn a little bit more about the company. Maybe while you're sitting and idling in your truck for a century.
There it is.
You're going to have some time to learn about a great
floor. Yeah.
or you're sitting on the floor. Exactly.
That's right.
Wherever you are, get to know Baysys a little better. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We'll see you folks out there in the nation.